Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs post-game show presented by PointsBet. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Luke Stuckmeyer, Ryan Herrera, and Cody Delmendo after the Cubs beat the Braves 6-3 in 10 innings in Atlanta. Guys, this was never in doubt.
Apparently not. Apparently not.
Apparently not.
What a crazy game. I thought they were going to blow another 3-0 lead, which would have been gosh, I don't know. It seems like it's 3 or 4 times this season now. They've done that. The lead gets away from them, but they find a way in extra innings. Wilson Contreras comes up with the big hit, but listen, at least
Patrick Wisdom comes up with the big hit, man.
Yeah, really. You're right. Patrick Wisdom really did come up with a big hit. But, you know, they come up with some offense. Last night, the complaint was in game 1, 4 hits, not enough. You have to have more than that. And not only they get 11 hits, but they get a home run from one of the guys that can provide that power. And it was enough to beat the Braves. And now you have a chance to win a series against the defending World Series champs who aren't playing great baseball, obviously. So you go into that game 3 of the series and you got to try and win this because you didn't play well against the Pirates. Start off this 11-game stretch with a positive and win a series in Atlanta.
Yeah, well, you know how we tweet out the show every time, Luke. You know how we tweet it out. So I tweeted it out, and in my thing, I said the Cubs are back. So I went from ready to have a gallon of bleach to thinking we're back. So it's baseball season for you, baby. That was a hell of a win, whether you want to get overly excited like I am or not. You love to see the team face adversity and then actually get through it and win the ball game on the road against the reigning World Series champs. I was so angry in the 8th inning. It's like they heard me all the way from my apartment in Uptown and said, "We're going to fix this, Cody." So that's my to start the show. That's my 2 cents. Probably at least the most exciting win of the year outside of opening day, maybe. So. Again, I understand being realistic. Just let me have my moment right now.
I was calling for a wellness check when they tied it at 3. I said somebody needs to go check on Cody. So
I was not happy.
Give him a courtesy phone call, something.
Guys. I mean, this. I think we weren't together, obviously, watching this game, but I think, Luke, if we were on the couch when we were going in the 8th inning, we would have been sitting, chilling on the couch. Cody would have been up screaming like he did. I forgot what inning it was yesterday, and Cody threw his hat on the ground and everything. So I'm sure he would have gotten a little more of that during that 8th inning. But, like you guys said, Contreras, big double to go ahead, plate the go-ahead run. Wisdom going deep. No doubter. And then Rowick, I mean, he gets his first save in his first opportunity of the year. And then he, I think Ozuna was on second base, gets over to third on the ground out. And then, Rowick punches out the next 2 guys. So
that was probably his best inning of the year.
Yeah. It came through.
It took it took, I don't know how many pitches exactly, but somewhere 11. Between 10 and 12. Yeah, 11. There you go.
Exactly between
yeah, right.
And his fastball was sitting closer to 95. It had been under 94 on average this year, so he was pumping it in there. He hit 96 on the dot, according to Statcast, right there on that last punch out. So, outside of the 8th inning, obviously was a good day all around, and we'll talk about Givens and kind of what happened a little bit, but yeah. I mean, good overall game. You obviously wanted to see the Cubs score more runs. They did. It seems like it's every day where you get the couple early. They got 3. They were up 3-1 or 3-0 after 3 innings, and then they kind of can't get back on the board after that. So that's something that consistently scoring throughout the game would obviously help, but managing to go into extras in Atlanta on the road and pulling this one off is obviously a big W right there.
I thought in game 1 of this series, Matzik, the Braves reliever, got away with a few pitches. The Cubs hit, I think it was Happ and Suzuki both drove the ball all the way to the gap, and it went almost all the way to the wall, and they made a couple of catches. And they hit him pretty hard in game 1. And, he came in, and I thought, the Cubs have a shot to get after him. If he pitches the same way he did yesterday, they were seeing him well yesterday. They were getting good wood on his pitches, and, they hit him hard in extra innings. I personally love the runner starting at second base. Like the game's over. We got some activity. We got it going. We got it moving. And you don't have to sit up till 1:30 in the morning waiting for the game to end. Like 9 innings is enough. And I'm cool with that runner being at second base. Now, when it flipped and it was for Rowan Wick, I was like, well, this isn't right.
That's exactly my thoughts.
Like a bass on a pier, but like when Wick came in, I was like, you know what, this rule's no good. They should never run her at second base.
Yeah.
But it was good win overall, obviously.
Yeah.
Also, wait, shout out Austin Gutterman, calls us the best Cubs podcast on here. Appreciate that.
Oh, very nice.
On YouTube, very apparently. Nice. Thank you.
Thanks for staying up on the chat.
Yeah. Ryan, you mentioned, how they scored early and then kind of died for a little bit there until the very end. There was a few innings where they definitely had a shot to add on an insurance run, and the Braves made them pay when they had that 8th inning. There was one inning, I think Nick Madrigal led off with a leadoff double, and then I remember Nico did a check swing and he made contact and it went right into someone's glove.
Third base.
And then, and then Ortega hit a pop-up right behind home plate or somewhere around there, which was just brutal when you get that leadoff double. I think Madrigal ended up making it to third off a wild pitch or something like that. And when those kinds of innings happen, it's like you can't tell if it's going to happen or not, but the baseball gods they don't let you forget. They come back and haunt you if you don't score in those moments. And that's why I was so angry in the 8th inning, to be honest. I thought Givens was pretty good. And, I know a lot of people were in our mentions on the CHGO Cubs Twitter account, yelling about David Ross. I'm assuming maybe because they didn't take Givens out earlier, but he got the first 2 guys out pretty quickly, and he's been nailed all season. To me, it was the fact that the Cubs just didn't add on those insurance runs, because if they're up 4-1, 5-1, and he gives up those 2 runs, we're still sitting pretty. And if they wanted to, they could have brought Robertson in then after he gave those 2 runs up and, whatever. But to me, the reason that this game went to extras is because the Cubs just couldn't add on more runs after they got that lead. And when Keegan Thompson gave up his first run of the year, I felt like the Braves were kind of building a little bit of momentum. And, every time the Cubs were on the brink of maybe taking some of that momentum back, they just weren't able to do it. But, at the same time, the Cubs bullpen was really good tonight. And I know we'll talk about that later. But to me, that's kind of how this game ended up going to extras in my eyes, was just the inability to get runs in whenever you actually had the opportunity to.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I was looking at the box score. They they got, besides the 9th inning, they got a runner on base with 1 out or no outs in every inning but the 9th inning. So like you said, just we're unable to add on for a few innings there. That's they string good at bats together, or at least are able to work counts and stuff. But it's stringing hits, stringing walks, hits, runs. That's the Cubs obviously need to do that, especially when it gets later on in the games, which we've seen the last since pretty much the entire season. That hasn't happened a lot. So yeah, I mean, that's, you mentioned the offense. I think that's something that obviously needs to get addressed. But you did score 6 runs today, so that's a good sign from there. And hit the ball well. I think was it 10 hits today, 11 hits, something like that.
11 hits, yeah.
11 hits. Took 6 walks, struck out 10 times, but that's the name of the game in baseball these days. 10 strikeouts doesn't seem like a lot anymore. So that's 17 base runners throughout the game. So that's pretty good work from the offense. It's just like you said, Cody, getting those consistently scoring runs over the last 6, last 2/3 of the game is what will obviously help this team a lot more.
And not to be a Debbie Downer here or Captain Buzzkill, but they were dangerously close to losing their 7th in 8 games, blowing a 3-0 lead and losing 7 out of 8. And the storyline after that would have been not just what Cody was talking about, which is totally true, that they had opportunities to score, but they also had some fundamental, mistakes again, where it wasn't a clean game. There were base running errors, there were some questionable plays in this game as well, where guys have to get their head on straight. I know we'll do with the who you got pick. We'll do that in just a bit, and we'll revisit whoever he had. And I think Ryan was riding pretty high, and then Hap had that kind of bonehead base running. I was like, we might have to pull a point back on that one. I mean, he's actually had a really good start to the season. There were so many things early on that were good. I mean, Seiya's at bat where he goes 10 pitches and then drives one off the wall is about as good as a bat you can get, and then later in the game, he did it again. He saw, I think, 7 pitches in his final at bat, didn't he? Before he against Jansen, before he
I thought it was like 7 or 8.
Yeah. So he was at like 18 pitches for 2 at bats. He's just fun to watch. And again, he struck out earlier in the game looking, and I was like, he's just so willing to do that. And I think JD said in the broadcast that half of his strikeouts are looking, and that the league average is something like 20 or 30% are usually looking. He's just willing to stick to what he believes is a strike. And I think that's a good thing moving forward. But when he strikes out looking, it just makes you more frustrated generally at the umpires, because if it's like Joey Votto, if Seiya thinks it's a ball, it's a ball. And if Seiya thinks it's a strike, it's a strike. And I think he's starting to get I think eventually he will start to get those calls more and more, just like Joey Votto starts to get those calls more and more, because they know the strike zone so well that the umpire will give them the benefit of the doubt, just like Greg Maddux used to get the benefit of the doubt on strikes a lot, because his control was so good that umpires like, well, he would never miss that pitch. And if it was close, they would give him the call. So I think it's something to watch moving forward. I just don't know if I've ever watched a player strike out that often looking. It's not that he strikes out a lot. It's just weird to see a guy be willing to stand there with the bat on his shoulder and take it, whether it's a strike or a ball. But in his mind, he clearly believes it's a ball. It's fascinating to watch.
Yeah, I tweeted. Yeah, I was gonna say I tweeted out real quick on Seiya that 10 pitch at bat that that RBI double and nearly went out. There's like 3 foul balls that he actually were outside the zone. There's one outside, one inside, and then one a little low. I'm like, maybe he's starting to expand his own zone a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe we talked about the curveball yesterday that was outside, called strike 3. Maybe he's like, okay, the umps have bigger zones than I think. Maybe I'm gonna start reaching a little more. And so he did. Obviously, he fouled those off and turned back into a 10 pitch at bat that turned into an RBI double. So, I think we even talked about it before. Just the more he gets comfortable with his zone, the more he can start expanding that. To work better with the umpires and whatnot. But you see that just in the first at bat, 3 foul balls on pitches close to the zone. It's not like they were crazy far away; they were close to the zone. So he looked like he's protecting the plate a little bit more. And refusing to get that called strike 3 outside. So that's what I saw.
His one strikeout looking tonight was in his first at bat, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
But
then he came back and had the double in the next one.
Yeah, I thought that. I know that I agree that he knows his strike zone, but I felt like this was the one he had tonight was one of the few times where I feel like he was guessing, or I don't know, maybe he just didn't read the pitch well, because that ball that struck him out, I mean, it was right there in the middle of the plate on the lower part of the zone. And I don't know. I mean, it didn't eventually. I mean, the Cubs eventually scored in the next inning, but at that time, it was kind of like, man, because they try to hit and run, and it was a strike him out, throw him out is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you though. I'd rather him know his swing at his zone than try to expand the zone like we've seen so many hitters in the past. So yeah, and then he definitely came through in his next at bat, which is awesome to see. He's had a lot of hard hit balls, in my opinion, over the last week, where they've been hitting the gloves. So yeah, I mean, the dude is, like you said, Luke, he's fun to watch whether he makes an out or not, because like he's just so impressive. Like the way he does his at bats, like he doesn't waste an at bat at all. And like, it's easy for fans or whoever, or even players in post games or whatever, when they have to talk to the media, to sit there and say like, just trying to work at bats, trying to not waste an at bat or whatever. It's so easy to say it, but it's also so hard to actually go out there and do it every at bat, because I don't know, like it's hard. You especially with the way the bullpens are used these days and everything, you're seeing all these different pitchers, especially after your first 2 at bats, at least, like the way he adjusts in game even is impressive to me. So yeah, he was great tonight, and he's the one guy on this team that I know is going to be on there for the future, at least at this moment, which is awesome to know.
Yeah, it sure looks like it. Nick G saying 29 pitches and 4 at bats. When he was facing Jansen in that final at bat, Jansen thought he had him on a pitch just outside of the zone, and that's when Jansen kind of did his kind of like little bit of a cocky walk around the mound, and I don't know what the umpire was thinking, but what was going through my head was, I wonder what Seiya thinks of that, as he is clearly parading around the mound a little bit, saying that was a strike when it was not a strike. And I so badly wanted him to hit a home run in the next pitch. I wanted to see that, where it was like, he was sort of showing him up a little bit and what he thought of the strike zone. And so I was bummed out when he popped up, because I thought, oh, this is going to be a great Seiya moment if he hits a home run on the next pitch. But hey, 2 hits. Madrigal had 2 hits and everybody else had 1. So, I mean, Madrigal and Seiya, 4 of the 11 hits in the game. And it's a good thing to see Madrigal coming around a little bit too. He looked better at the plate. He was, instead of just little dribblers on the infield, he drove the ball twice.
Yeah. I think I tweeted from the account yesterday, or no, I did it yesterday, also tonight, after he got that double, that he was in a 3 for 25 slump. So I think JD put it best, the type of hitter that he is. When he gets in these types of slumps, it means that a bunch of hits are on the way. So we got 2 hits from him tonight, which is great to see. And Cubs are going to need it, especially with the stretch of teams that they got to play. So right now is a great time for him to get hot.
Yeah, wasn't it post game yesterday? Someone's like, when do we start asking questions about Nick Madrigal?
Yes.
Just relax.
And it wasn't a crazy question. It was a reasonable question,
Yeah.
I mean,
it wasn't like everyone who said that we need to DFA Patrick Wisdom. So
good thing that didn't happen.
I mean, it's just like, yeah, like you guys said, though, he's the way he's succeeded at, he's a contact hitter, and that's how he succeeded for so long, and that's what makes him a good hitter, is just being able to make contact with the ball. And 3 for 25 funk, that means he's putting contact on the ball, and there's probably a few that just didn't fall for him. Maybe that 3 for 25 could look a little bit better if they did. But he went 2 for 5 today. He had that double. I think I quote tweeted whatever got put on the Cubs account, but he really hung back on that curveball. Like, he didn't. It was one of those, like, it was like a perfect, like, you see him step, and then you see him really hang on it, and then get the barrel to the ball on that curveball that he took down for the double. I mean, that's just like, as far as from a baseball standpoint, just like that swing is a very aesthetically pleasing swing. Just the whole hanging and swinging. But no, yeah,
those are the types of hits that you want from a guy like Nick Madrigal, because anyone who is out on him thinks that all he does is hit the ball on the ground. And yes, he's been hitting the ball on the ground a lot so far this year. I think I heard JD or Boog say it's like 70% coming into tonight. So obviously a lot of it has to do with the slump that he was in. But when he gets to hitting those line drives, like gap to gap power, whether it's down the left field line, or he goes opposite field a lot too, if he can do like he hit that single tonight as well, hit a little harder maybe and down in the corner and get a double instead, whatever. I'll take those types of hits from him all the time, because those are going to be more valuable in the role that he is in. Obviously I'll take any hits that he can give you, but for sure during the slump, it's like, man, all this guy is doing is just pounding the ball into the ground. But whenever he starts getting that ball into line drive form, that's the Nick Madrigal that we believe that is, can be a part of the Cubs' future, and that can be like a really solid piece and a mainstay at second base, honestly. So we just need more of that. And I'm not saying I need it every night. We just need more. And tonight was a good start.
Rhonda's joining in. Doubles and singles win ball games. Hey, that's the way this team's going to have to win games. Although you could say that the home run really helped win this game too. I mean,
for sure.
It really gave Wick a little breathing room there going into the 10th inning with the runner starting at second base. We'll talk. Let's talk some bullpen stuff in the second block. But I do want to separate Keegan Thompson because what he's done this season is above and beyond what everybody's doing in the bullpen. The bullpen's been great, but like he's adding to those numbers. But what his start was, I think JD put it really well during the broadcast, saying, there may not be another player in the Cubs organization right now that has upgraded his profile this season more than Keegan Thompson has so far in less than 20 games. I mean, look at that, 16 2/3, finally one earned run. It took 16 and a third innings to give up that one run. And, look at his whips below 1, his ERA's below 1, 17 strikeouts to 5 walks. I mean, he has been everything the Cubs have asked for. If they're trying to find pieces, I mean, we say it almost every podcast now, but that's because of the way the guy's playing. He's a part of the future. And we did say in the game 1 post-game podcast we were talking about, I said, if Leiter were to give up like 5 runs, I didn't want to see Thompson come in and get wasted because they don't need him. They're probably going to lose the game if they're losing 5-0. He came in again. He did a great job, and he handed the other guys, and they helped finish it off. But man, what a weapon that is to have a guy that can come in. Imagine how valuable he is when you have starters that can start going 5-6 innings, and he can just take it to the closer. That's when he'll really have value. Like right now, he's on a team where the starting pitchers are, banged up. 2 of them aren't even there. And when you talk about who's going to be there in the future, I don't know. But like when they have some of these guys start to come up from the farm system, and you have real aces and a real number 2 and a real number 3 and a real number 4, when they can go 5-6 innings and you can hand the ball to him, that's when he's really, if he continues to pitch this way, that's when you'll see the real value. Right now, it's exciting to watch, but the value is sort of being wasted on a team right now, at least, that isn't back to the 500 mark. But it's a great sign for the future. There's no question about that.
Yeah, I mean, I was really happy to see Ross bring him in the 3rd inning after the way Leiter pitched those first 2 innings. Obviously, we were optimistic about Leiter today because of how he had pitched through the first time through the order in his first 2 outings. I thought he was okay in the 1st inning, and then 2nd inning, obviously the bases loaded, but somehow was able to get out of it in a big spot, bases loaded. So credit to him. I still think maybe he could have a bullpen role, but when he brought Keegan Thompson in and the Cubs had a 3-0 lead, I was like, okay, we're winning tonight. Like this, it genuinely felt like you're winning the game. Like that's how good Keegan Thompson has pitched, because you thought, okay, this guy can go 3, maybe 4 innings. He had his highest pitch count of the season tonight, and I think he went 3 innings. So the Braves were able to work him a little bit more than past teams. But I mean, man, like this guy is just like, you watch him on the mound, like in between pitches, and this guy just looks like he's in the zone. Like I don't know how to explain it. He doesn't look like someone who is like nervous or anything. He's just going out there and saying, I'm going to give you the best I got. I'm going to shove it down your throat, and you're going to try and hit it, and you won't, because I'm that good. Like he's like, that's how confident he looks right now, just by looking at him on the television from where I'm at. Maybe that's a bad take. I don't know, but that's just how it feels to me. Yeah, he's just I don't know where the Cubs would be without him. It's just it's a really nice thing to see because I really didn't know what to expect from him coming into this season. I thought he would be better in a bullpen role, but rather than starter. And so all the people in the comments who were asking if he should be a starter, I mean, we've talked about it multiple times already on past shows, but right now he has to stay in this role until, it becomes an absolute emergency.
Ride him right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
you got to ride it right now.
And just looking at the Statcast again, 9 whiffs on 30 swings. It's 30%, which that's very good. 6 whiffs on 13 swings with a fastball alone. When you look at it, he averaged 94.5 miles per hour on that fastball today, up a full mile per hour from his season average on the fastball. So he was pumping that in there, was getting whiffs on it, not just foul tips, whatever. It was 6 whiffs on 13 swings on the fastball, which is very, very good numbers. He wasn't giving up hard contact either. 84.6 mile per hour average exit velocity on 9 balls in play. So, yeah, he gave up 1 run. His streak comes to an end. Whatever. He's human. That was going to happen. He's not. He's not going to go an entire season without giving up a run. But he's been excellent. You saw the numbers on the graphic. He's the best reliever the Cubs have right now, and he's coming in and doing it in critical situations. Which again, we talked about it. Ross, when he was coming up, said long relief might have been more of a less used. Guys only kind of came in for long relief when they were up a lot or down a lot. He's using Keegan Thompson as a high leverage guy who can also go out and get you 3 innings. Which again, that's not 2 2/3 and every relief outing so far. It's through his first 5 appearances. Keegan Thompson's excellent out of the bullpen. We've talked about it. Do we want to see him start? I mean, it's not like he lit up the world starting in the rotation last year. So I think Ross really likes where he's at right now. Tommy Hotovy, I've talked to him about it. He really likes where Keegan Thompson is at right now. I mean, you looking at it, he's coming in and shutting things down pretty much for a good amount of innings every time he comes out. So I think you just let it ride. And like Cody said, unless it becomes necessary that someone's hurt or they just need starters. I mean, they didn't rush Keegan Thompson to the rotation the first time, and they brought Mark Leiter Jr. up instead, right? They probably have options that they can do that with, where Ross wants to keep Keegan as that weapon out of the bullpen because he's been doing so well for him. And again, while pitchers are still ramping up to full go, having a guy that can come in for 3 innings, 4 innings like he did last week. I mean, having that guy is an unbelievable weapon that you don't see too much in baseball.
And think about what Cody was saying. Cody said, it was 3-0. They brought in Keegan Thompson, and I was like, we're winning tonight. You're saying that against the Atlanta Braves, the team that just won the World Series, a team full of hitters, even without Acuna, they're still loaded with hitters. And you're talking about a guy that 3.5 weeks ago, we didn't know anything, we were like, bullpen, maybe he gets a start, I'm not sure where he's going to fit in. He wasn't great at the end of last season. He was a huge question mark. And now 3.5 weeks later, you're expecting him to quote unquote shove against the World Series champs to the point where the game is over in the 3rd inning. He's turned believers into a lot of people that were doubters have now turned into believers.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I froze a little bit. I was going to say when you're coming in and he comes in and you're surprised he gives up a run, that feels like the end of the world for Keegan Thompson.
Yeah.
That shows you how good he's been doing just in the first few times he's been out there this season. He's 16 2/3 with that, that numbers. That's small sample size. We'll keep using it, but right now it looks really, really good.
Yeah. And again, another homegrown pitcher drafted by Theo Epstein. I mean, this is just incredible stuff. Ethan Roberts last night, Keegan Thompson tonight. To me, Keegan Thompson, he, whatever he is giving us, say he stays in this bullpen role the entire season, and and he excels at it the entire season, or is at least, very good at it, that gives you something you can go into next year and be like, this is like, we know a role. Like, we know a role this guy's going to be in. We know what Seiya is going to be in. If Ian Happ keeps playing like this, we know what role he is. And like, you start filling in holes, right? And then you can look in free agency, and you can look at what's coming up on the farm, like Caleb Killian and Brennan Davis. And you can really figure out where those guys are going to be. And it's like we keep saying, even me, whenever I get realistic, like, we are developing, we are answering questions that we've been wondering for a while, right? So, like, to me, that's the biggest thing, is like, Keegan Thompson is a question answered already. Like, he's pitching that well. The only thing knock on wood, all of it, like, just you stay healthy and just keep doing what you do, man, because like, he's just like, the zone that he is in right now is just something that I just don't feel like I can say I've seen from a Cubs pitcher that was homegrown in a long time, because they just they didn't have a lot. So it's a really like pleasant sight to see. It really is. And it's fun to watch.
Cody, what kind of bets you have going tonight in this game? You have some.
I had no run first inning tonight, Luke.
Oh, you did?
I did, and it was wild because I thought I was going to lose it in the first inning because of the Cubs, and then. That Ortega and the Seiya, the strike him out, throw him out, and that didn't not work out in the Cubs' favor, and I was mad, but I was also like, well, at least I could win some money here.
Ortega looked really slow on that, by the way. It was almost Albert
bad jump
running to second.
Yeah,
what's going on?
I had that. I had Charlie Morton under 5.5 strikeouts. That was literally never a doubt. Me and Sean on the bet show both took that tonight. I don't even think he had one. So, and it was at plus money, which is awesome, and you'll love to see. And then I think I had Matt Olson 2+ total bases. And he actually had a double in the first inning, so I won that bet in the first inning. So, it was good stuff. Made them all on PointsBet, Luke.
Nice. That's what I was wondering. I assumed you used PointsBet.
Yeah. I definitely did them all on PointsBet, which is the best way to support CHGO. Is if you download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. If you have any questions, email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you. Remember that PointsBet is your home for live in-game betting. They even have a new exclusive feature, live NBA same-game parlay. For the first time ever, build the perfect live same-game parlay only with PointsBet. Combine your favorite bets anytime during the game. You can even boost your live same-game parlays. And now online sign-up is available in Illinois as well. You can actually download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. Say it every show. If Luke can do it, all of you in the comments can do it as well. Signing up with the fastest sportsbook is now easier than ever, so you can start living your bet life in seconds. Use code CHGO to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Now, that was very well done, Cody. I'm going to get ready. I'm going to put my clean readers on for this just so I can. It's late, I got to make sure I get a clean read here.
You've been home. You've been at home all day. You didn't have to get really ready. You're probably not wearing any pants right now, even though no one can tell.
You don't tell people that. That's I thought we had some sort of code. There's a code you're supposed to follow. It's a brotherhood. You don't tell those secrets.
I didn't say it. I just said probably.
Yeah. Well, you want to start your day with a competitive edge? Well, Strava CBD coffee is a game changer, and it has helped thousands of people improve their overall wellness and quality of life. Strava delivers delicious, fresh roasted specialty coffee infused with organic, broad spectrum CBD. CBD from hemp. It doesn't make you high or hungry, but it does offer real benefits that can help you. You feel alert and focused without the jitters. You can live your day more balanced with less anxiety and fewer aches and pains. Plus, including CBD in your daily routine can even help you enjoy a more restful sleep so you wake up feeling your best. And the best part, Strava is all about quality. It's all small batch, fresh and shipped straight to your door. Strava also offers concentrated full-spectrum CBD tinctures for those looking for a more traditional CBD format with a powerful entourage of benefits. CHGO listeners can save 25% off their entire purchase when you use the code CHGO25. That's 25% off your entire order at StravaCraftCoffee.com when you use the code CHGO25 at checkout. Discount coupon valid on non-subscription purchases only, one use per customer. And if you love Strava already, well, subscribe and save with the Strava Coffee Club. Strava, you're in control. Save on your favorite coffees and have them automatically delivered to your home or office on your preferred schedule. All right, let's talk more about the bullpen. We talked about Keegan Thompson, but
we
the
talk
other
about
guys
Scott
have been really
Efros.
good too. You know, I've seen a lot of stuff flying around Twitter after the game about rankings, where they rank in Major League Baseball, second and fifth in ERA. You know, until the Givens run, what was it, 19 innings with 8 hits? Is that possible?
Yeah, I saw, or something
Right?
like that.
Was that the stat on the game? 19
I did not see that.
innings before
I got-
Givens.
I got it. Yeah, Marquis put it 19 innings over the last 5 games.
Right.
They got 19 innings, 8 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, 22 strikeouts, 6 walks. So of course, right after they put that out, you know, there was going to be a 2-run.
Yeah, it was
inning.
the
Like,
jinx.
you knew that as soon as I saw that, I took the picture and I just kind of knew. I'm like, that's, you know, here we go. But overall, I mean, yeah, the bullpen's been very good. I think even just outside of Keegan Thompson, who we know has been dominant. Scott Efros came in, had another, you know, solid inning. And then Keegan Thompson comes in himself, gives up the 1 run, but goes three innings and keeps the Cubs ahead by 2. And then you get Michael Givens, who, you know, I tweeted out just kind of like his pitch results, like whether it was the walk, the 2 strikeouts, the 3 hits. So and he came in, he threw 1 ball and striking out Ozuna and d'Arnaud. It was 1 ball and he struck them both out. And so it looked like he was coming in clean, like he was going to go clean through that 8th inning. Then he gives up a hit to Dickerson on a fastball. I think it was a fastball outside. That he just, you know, grounds through the infield, goes over to Ian Happ and left. Okay, that's you got beat right there. He threw it. It was outside. It wasn't like it was in the zone. Like it was an outside pitch, and he managed to get the bat on it and took it the other way. Duvall follows it up with that single. He, you know, that ball was outside, and he bloops that Ian Happ just barely misses the sliding catch. But that ball was also out. I think it was a slider outside, like a couple inches outside too, away. And then the walk to Demeretti, I don't know if that's how you say his name, but that walk, you kind of a little wild there. And then the next one was the Dansby Swanson single that ended up tying the game. That also was an outside pitch that he, you know, off the edge that he took the other way and got through the infield. So I mean, Givens, yeah, it was a 2-run inning and a, you know, blown
the
save
shift really hurt the Cubs against Swanson. Like that's the thing. That like you can't even blame Givens for that. That was all the shift.
No, I mean, yeah, but I mean, even that is like the shift. If you want to say, hey, you shouldn't throw the ball outside when you got a shift on, that's one thing. But he's been he gave up 1 other run on April 12th against the Pirates. He came into today 1.29 ERA, 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, and 11 strikeouts. Like he has been pitching very well, and you're gonna have days like this where sometimes you just get beat. Again, those were balls that weren't strikes. Those weren't strikes. They chased technically, and managed to get those balls. Get those where the fielders weren't. So I think at that point you kind of they showed Givens and it looked like, you know, he was pissed when he was walking off. But also, I think you tip your cap to the Braves, and you know they beat him. They beat him today. It wasn't as you know, again that walk again was wild, and he was maybe getting into a couple deeper counts. But they were working good at bats. It wasn't like he started off 3-0 and had to come back. Like the you know, Dickerson, Duvall, and Swanson worked good at bats. So I think you tip your hat to them for going and working good at bats and getting hits and putting balls where the Cubs weren't. You're gonna have games like this again, like I said, and it was just given.
I think
I was gonna say you don't take him out of his role because you gave him 2 runs.
Sure,
he's gonna have a game like that.
For sure. What I was gonna say is I think the big part that maybe people aren't paying attention to, or at least acknowledging, is I think it was it Duvall who hit it? He hit the double. was Duvall who hit the double, right? Well, the only reason it became a double was because when Happ fielded it, he threw it to third. So if he throws it to second, you got first and third. That sets up the double play situation where you don't even need it. You force out situation. They already had 2 outs. And maybe there's not as much pressure on Givens to get that out because he knows with second and third, he gives up a knock. That's a tie game, right? So I'm with you, Ryan. I'm not blaming. Again, I was more mad in the 8th inning about the fact that the Cubs could not score any insurance runs to make that lead a little bit more comfortable. However, I did, you know how I tweeted or I set up the tweet with Stroman last night and then he gave up the homer? Well, tonight, tonight, and like during the 8th inning, of course, too, I have it right here. I saved it in my drafts. I don't know if you guys can read it. It says the Cubs bullpen is an absolute wagon. And I was just going to hit send after the 8th inning and I hit it. I saved it in my drafts and I never hit send. And now I'm going to leave it in my drafts. The next time the Cubs bullpen looks like an absolute wagon, I can go straight to my drafts. So.
But you know what? They've been you can't ask them to be much better than they've been. They rank in like the top 5 in almost every category for bullpens around baseball. And some of that is Thompson, but Efros, 27 strikeouts and 2 walks since he's joined, been in the big leagues. I think Efros is a piece for the future too. Ethan Roberts has looked great. Guys, they don't even have Cody Hoyer right now. Like Cody Hoyer could end up being their best reliever. And he's another piece of the puzzle. Rowan Wick, I still like him as a potential closer at some point, they've got, you guys both said it before the season started. Don't worry about the bullpen. I believe that now. The bullpen is not a problem, but I also think when you see some of these young guys and you know that Cody Hoyer's still going to come back at some point next season, you hope, and other guys are coming up the farm system. And if you can get Keegan Thompson to continue to pitch like this and Efros to continue to pitch like this, and then you mix and match some of the ability they have to find these veteran guys, boy, it could be a real weapon when you talk about the type of pitching that they have coming up in the farm system to where, and that is sort of the plan. Like they have some big bats, but it could be really pitching that drives the next great Cubs team. And you can see that already in a team that is just kind of sprinkled with some of those young players. You're barely even getting a taste of it. And you can see that their young pitching is going to be a force to be reckoned with at some point. So I think that's really cool to watch. And, heck, we're not even 20 games into the season. So you're going to see a lot of it this summer. And I'm sure there's going to be, a stretch of 15 games where we go back and we'll flash back to this podcast and you'll be able to say, wow, what an idiot Grandpa Stuckey is. But, that's just the way baseball is. I believe this is not just some flash in the pan, nice stretch from the bullpen. I think they've got some young arms that are going to be a big piece of the future. And I think we're going to see a lot of them this season.
Yeah. And, going back to what happened today, Chris Martin had another inning, I think was clean, had the 1 strikeout. Robertson's been so good. He came in and, kind of saved that 8th inning from spiraling even more. Pitched a clean 9th. I mean, his ERA
struck out the
0.
side in the 9th, I believe.
His ERA is still 0. He's been going crazy.
He's setting himself up to, and this is me being realistic again, if they sell off at the deadline, the way he's pitching, he's setting himself up to be another Kimbrel type trade away. And that's me being realistic. Let me get back to being optimistic now. That's what I was getting to, because you mentioned it even yesterday, Cody, that if things go haywire or whatever, and the Cubs aren't in a position to sell at the deadline, and you got guys like Robertson, Michael Givens, Chris Martin, those guys are probably the first ones as far as bullpen guys that are out the door. But at least for now, you got these guys there for when the Ethan Robertses and the Scott Efroses are here. Chris Martin just won a World Series. He just got his ring yesterday, I think. And then you got David Robertson and Michael Givens, who have a lot of experience in the bullpen. David Robertson, especially as a closer,
I think he had 178 save opportunities in his career right now. So a lot of experience there. So even if those guys are gone at the deadline, at least you get a good, 4 months of very good veteran experience to help guide these young guys like Ethan Roberts and Scott Effross, Manny Rodriguez if he comes up anytime soon, Roe Wick, who, like Luke said, could still be a closing option. You have guys like that, like Chris Martin, like David Robertson, Michael Givens, who have some experience and who are able to at least guide and help these guys get their career started or get their career, keep on moving on for the next few months. Which I think that's what they were brought in the first place, was to provide a lot of veteran experience. But they're showing it with the way they're pitching, especially David Robertson, who's been lights out every time he's came into a game this year. It's been awesome.
Let's revisit our who you got. Okay, so we've had a tough time in this so far this season because nobody's really jumped out and taken a game. And I said at the beginning of this podcast, and this is an error by me, I said a Hap base running error. I wanted to take a point away. It was the throwing error where he should have gone to second base that almost cost him the game. But he got on base a few times. I would say Hap probably had the best game. Hayward did have a hit.
Yeah, Horner had a hit as well.
Yeah, they each had a hit. I don't know if there's a runaway winner, but I'm willing to give Ryan the win.
He's willing.
Cody feels like Hap is the winner. It's not a home run, but it's sort of like a.
How many walks did he have? He had 2?
He had 2 walks. He was 1 for 2, 2 walks.
2 walks.
He had an RBI, and he scored the game-winning run in the 10th.
He had a stack fly, and then a bad throw.
He's in here trying to act like he's just willing to give it, like,
he
okay.
Won. That was very clear.
His throw to third base almost cost him the game.
No, he won. He won.
Still better game than Hayward and Horner. Let's be real.
All right, we'll give you the win.
I deserve it.
I'm still on the schneid. I need to get on. I got to pick a right one eventually.
Yeah, man. I think Ryan and I each have one. I still wouldn't say it was like, if somebody had Patrick Wisdom, I would have switched my vote to Patrick Wisdom and given you the win up for that instead.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure,
like
but no one had Wisdom.
No, they didn't. It wasn't a slam dunk, but we'll give it to him.
He was a deserving winner. Michael Jordan didn't score 45 points every game, man. Sometimes he scored 25.
He did a lot. He did a lot.
Bulls still got the win, right? Exactly. He didn't have to go over 50 every game. He could still score 23, and the Bulls will get the win. So,
by the way, man, the Bulls. Oof.
Oh yeah, we don't need to talk about them.
Did you guys see Peck?
I won.
Mustache? Big Dave.
I did.
Mustache.
I did.
Did they get it?
It's gone.
Nice.
I won 4 bets off the Bulls losing tonight.
You bet against
I don't do that. I can't.
I bet against them. I bet the spread was 12.5. I was like, there's no way with Levine out and Caruso out. Took the Bucks minus 12.5. I had a future bet for the series to end in 5 games. I won that. I did take Patrick Williams to score over 11.5 points.
Yeah, though. I can't do that. I can't bet against my own teams for the sake of making a little bit of money. I would not. I can't bet against the Bulls.
That's what a true degenerate has to do.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what true degenerates do, man. That's what true degenerates do.
Can't bring myself to do it, man. I'd rather have my teams win than
Luke. Do you want a points bet pick of the week for tomorrow?
I do. Is this pick of the week going to be a stone cold lock that I should be jumping in on, or do you feel like
it's a stone cold lock that I feel like you should be jumping on? Yes.
All right. Well, I'm gonna hold on. Let me get a notepad because I'm gonna write it down. It's gonna take me a little while to get this.
Yeah, and then I know how long it's gonna take you to log into PointsBet too, because you can't ever remember your password.
Can't remember my logins. It's a real problem.
This week's PointsBet pick of the week is Padres minus 1.5 against the Reds tomorrow. They go for the sweep. The Reds are 1-11 in their last 12 games against the spread. Not only are they losing, but they are failing to lose by a 1 run or less because they're always dogs because they stink. And they play a Padres team that's pretty good tomorrow.
So that's your pick of the week.
That's my pick of the week.
Cold lock.
and it's at plus 145 for some dumb reason. I don't understand why. So you slam the Padres minus 1.5. The Reds stink. They've won one game in like their last like 12 or 13 games. They beat the Cardinals on Sunday, but other than that, they had lost 9 or 10 in a row before that, and they've lost since Sunday too. They haven't won this week outside of Sunday. They're losing by like multiple runs, not just like one. It's bad. They stink. I actually like the Reds make me feel really good about being a Cubs fan. I mean, that's been like my entire life, but like this year especially, the Reds make me feel real happy about being a Cubs fan. So take some solace in that, everyone in the chat.
I'm going to try and remember to go for that. I've got $49 left in my account, and I may put a 20 spot on that. I may big dollar it.
Yeah,
but again,
at plus 145, it's good. It's good.
If it's
stuff.
wrong, we shave your head. You know, that's the way it's going to go.
I just got a haircut the other day. I don't want to shave it yet.
Hey, you know what I've been using every day? AG1. Because I didn't have time, wanted better gut health, more energy, optimized immune system, and now I've been on it for a month. I love it. It doesn't taste like real healthy or anything. It's actually mild, tropical taste, and I look forward to trying it each morning. Here's what it is. 1 scoop of AG1, you get 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, adaptogens, all to help start your day right. The special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, your recovery, your focus, your aging, all those things. I get a noticeable boost of energy in the morning. I take it first thing on an empty stomach. It's a lifestyle-friendly thing, too, because whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, you're all good with AG1. You're investing in all-in-one nutritional insurance for less than $3 a day, and it's recommended by professional athletes, more than 7,000 5-star reviews. So right now, reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free, that's right, free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. I think Cody's been talking about Vegas, so you got to have at least 5 of those. So all you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/CHGO Cubs. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/CHGO Cubs to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And Cody, that's the great thing about PointsBet is you don't have to go to Vegas. Everything you need to do, you can do right there on your phone.
There you go.
Yeah, speaking of Vegas, I can't talk. I'll be on the All CHGO podcast tomorrow, and it's Vegas themed because of the NFL draft.
Oh yeah, that's going to be
tomorrow.
Cool. Have you guys seen some of the photos of like they're doing it in the fountain where the boat's going to come out? That's
yeah.
They were supposed to do that last year, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. They just pushed it back here, I think.
Yeah,
I'll be in Vegas in a couple weeks. So I just barely missed it, I guess.
Really, I didn't know you.
Also, I keep forgetting to say this every time we do an AG1 ad, but my girlfriend, she has been putting AG1 in her smoothies.
Really?
She makes these smoothies with like frozen fruit and orange juice.
That's the way.
And then she puts the AG1 in there, and then we put it in a blender and just let it do its job. And I tried it, and it looks disgusting, but it tastes good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I highly recommend.
You know, it's a bright green color kind of, but it is sort of tropical. So I could see it very easily blending in with some of that fruit and an orange juice and really, like I said, by itself in water, it's good.
Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't it taste good in a smoothie? Huh.
Right.
That's something to try.
Try that out.
I will give it a shot. So the Cubs win 6-3 in 10 innings. And what this does now is gives them a shot to win the series. The Braves still, knock on wood, I don't have any around here, but knock on wood, they still haven't won. The world champs still haven't won a series this season, and the Cubs can keep that continuing. Drew Smiley's been good.
Drew Smiley revenge game again.
Now, the only thing I will say is that Kyle Wright has been striking guys out left and right. So I'm glad Kyle Wright is not going up against last year's Cubs lineup because you'd have like 22 strikeouts. What did he have? I wrote it down. 17 innings, 26 Ks, and an ERA almost exactly at 1.
Yeah, he's
off to a great start. Yeah. But I like the contact guys that are in the lineup.
They said the same thing about Charlie Morton, how he's a first pitch strike guy, and over his career. I mean, clearly he's off to a terrible start this year. He was not like I could read that he wasn't going to be in the game very long in the first inning, just based off the at bats that the Cubs are having. So if the Cubs can come with that same approach tomorrow against Wright, I mean, it's also going to take him to, not have his command as well as he has, but that's with as good as he's pitching. That's tough.
So Ravi's saying revenge game,
ask.
Smiley revenge game.
Smiley revenge game.
He's gonna put that ring on. He's gonna that World Series ring on it and shove. Apparently,
Go ahead, Brian.
I think Smiley's been very good. Again, we talked about on Friday the runs. That was his first bad start of the year. But he's been consistently solid. The first 3 times through rotation. I expect another one. I don't know if I'm expecting 6 or 7 innings this time out. But he could definitely, he's shown the first few times he can get you 5 solid innings. So I think that's what you asked for. If he can get you to 6, great. If he can get you to 7, excellent. But I expect a solid outing from Smiley. I don't think he's not going to go out these Braves hitters are really good. And you saw that even today in that 8th inning. So I'm not expecting him to go out and strike out a bunch or make them look like fools, but I think he can. He's done really well limiting hard contact so far this year, limiting damage. So we'll see if he can do that tomorrow. But I expect a solid 5 innings from Drew Smiley. I think the Cubs will take that tomorrow.
The Cubs need that tomorrow after how much bullpen they used tonight. It was like that was like the one thing I was thinking about as they were going into extra innings is like, okay, the Cubs could win in dramatic fashion. That'll be fun. But then I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to think about, okay, now I got to, how am I myself going to will Drew Smiley to 5 or 6 innings tonight, tomorrow, whatever. It's a tall task against that lineup. But, outside of his last start, he's been really good. And I would say, I think he matches up well against some of their best hitters. I mean, I feel like he would match up well against Olsen, who's been one of their hotter hitters in the lineup, lefty on lefty. Now that I said that, he'll probably hit 2 homers tomorrow. But again, just some of them. And I think the key for him is, keeping runners off base based off the walk. I think he had some walks in his last start that kind of hurt him. So, based off my memory, I think. So, here's the hoping.
Braves and Phillies both already 5 games behind the Mets in their division, and both teams 8-10. So not off to good starts for 2 teams that a lot of people talked about as obviously playoff teams, and it could certainly end up that way. But you don't want to start out in a 5-game hole this early in the season necessarily in a division race.
Real quick. Before we don't have much time, we could do this conversation for another hour. Extra inning automatic runner, yes or no, yay or nay?
Yes.
I love it. As someone that works games, like goes to games for work and not just pleasure, I love the automatic runner.
Like I said, it's like the shift. I like it when the Cubs win. I hate it when the Cubs lose. So that's my take on it. Michael Cerami tweeted something similar to that, and I took the video that we made that has the bleeps from the shift, and I replied to his tweet with it from the CHGO Cubs account tonight. He got a good kick out of it. So shout out to him.
Worked for the Cubs in this game. 6-3, 10 innings over the Braves. And
one more thing, and it's not even related, but can we please talk about the Mets and the Cardinals brawl, just for 30 seconds?
Yeah, do it. Go ahead.
Give it to us. All I gotta say is that I don't really know too much about the storyline of how many guys were hit in that series, but I did hear the Cardinals manager in the post game say something about how just taking a ball up taking a ball inside is just not right. And it's not how the game is supposed to be played or something like that. I quote tweeted from the CHGO Cubs account and was like, all right, well, whenever your best player gets hit 15 times by the same team, you do something about it. I was just curious what you guys' thoughts about just the brawl, because it was, I mean, if you want to call it a brawl, I know it was Pete Alonso and Stubby Clapp who got into a little tussle, if you want to call it that. But it was probably the more entertaining thing from day baseball today. But I don't know. Again, unwritten rules are wild.
NBC Nightly News ran a whole story tonight about how guys are getting hit at an alarming rate, and it's the baseball's fault, and that they're too inconsistent. The balls are inconsistent. They're not all the same. And I was like, how about the fact that pitching's not as good as it used to? Like, guys are all over the place. They're all throwing like 98, so their control's not as good as it used to be in a game. They had almost no spring training, and it's been cold at most of the ballparks so far this season. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm buying it's the fault of the baseball. And half the guys are just throwing at each other.
Yeah, I don't know. But as far as the brawl goes, the pitch was a pretty high and inside fastball. Arenado, I can understand why he was pissed. Pete Alonso was saying that he could put some guys in the hospital in the postgame. That guy was awesome. And then whoever the Cardinals bullpen guy that just didn't even go to the door and just jumped the fence. Like he was running away from the cops at a high school party. Like that was awesome. Those are the two things I'm like.
It was one of the more interesting like benches clearings that we've had this year. I thought the Cubs Brewers one was. I mean, from being in the stands during that game, it was entertaining. But if I would have watched it on TV, it would have been like just another one. I feel like that you see in today's age.
Like he was running to war.
You at least saw some people rolling around.
Robbie's hanging with us late night. Guys are running to war.
The bullpen guy jumped the fence like he was running to war. Yeah, that's so true, though. Yeah.
There you go.
I just think that, this is my 2 cents, is baseball for the last 3-4 years has been trying to push this let the kids play thing. And that's all cool and dandy. But I feel like the players are just never going to get to that point. Like, who knows how many of those pitches were thrown at those guys on purpose for both sides. Like, and except for maybe that high and inside fastball or whatever it was at Arenado, that again did not hit him. You know what I mean? So, and I believe it was one of the Mets players who got hit in the helmet. So, in one of the previous games. So, all I'm saying is the fact that the Cardinals are playing victim here is soft. There you go.
There it is. Hashtag Keegan Thompson for mayor.
Keegan Thompson for mayor. Cardinals are soft. There you go.
That's it.
It's a great way to end the show.
That is a great way. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs post-game show presented by PointsBet. Brendan and Corey will have the series wrap-up for you in a Cubs-related podcast coming up after Game 3 in this series on Thursday. We'll be back with pregame and postgame podcast coming up on Friday as the Cubs continue a very difficult stretch of 11 games. More fun on the way. So we'll see what happens. But a big win here. Cubs get it 6-3 in 10 innings. So go home and fly the W.